When I decided that I was going to clean slate my life in 2026 and grant myself a midlife sabbatical, I really thought the hardest part was going to be getting rid of the external things like quitting my job, moving. But you know what? The hardest part, the hardest, has been in my own mind, my mindset. I realized that I missed out on things in my life, not because I wasn't capable, but because I kept talking myself out of things. All the wonderful things that I wanted to do in my life, most of the time, I've talked myself out of it. So if you are a person who overthinks and ruminates, you definitely want to stick around, because I'm going to share a book with you that is already changing my mindset. And then I'm going to tell you the 5 things that I'm going to do to start my day off right, to stop the self-sabotage. So, thanks for joining. My name is Annette. I am 63 years old and talking about all things midlife. Now, if you've been following me, you know that I am starting a midlife sabbatical in January. And last week I talked about the 7 pillars of my own life that I want to address. Mindset was one of them, and I definitely alluded to the fact that this is a big one for me. I overthink, I ruminate, and I can have negative thoughts. So let me tell you about something that I discovered this week. So the book I want to tell you about is called Don't Believe Everything You Think. It's by Joseph Nguyen. I think that's how you say his name. Why Your Thinking is the Beginning and End of Suffering. This book has blown my mind, specifically because it is so spot on for someone like me, and maybe for someone like you if you're overthinking. So here's the premise. Thoughts create, thinking destroys. I'm going to say it again. Thoughts create and thinking destroys. Now it sounds kind of crazy, right? Because, well, of course, how could we not think? We all have to think. But what he's really saying is when you think of like a thought is a noun and thinking is a verb. When you think of something like it's raining out, that's a thought. It's neutral. You can just let it go. But if you're a thinker like me, you can think it's raining out, but then you'll start going down the road of, oh, you know what? It's raining out and it's going to be like the worst day. I have to go out. I don't feel like going out. I want to get back into bed. So do you see how it takes a neutral thought and it then gives it a charge, a negative charge? So what he's saying is the thought is in the present, and the thinking, which is the cause of most of our dissatisfaction, is the fact that thinking is either in the past, we're thinking about things that happened to us in the past that could happen to us again, or thinking is in the present. I mean, not the present, in the future. Not to confuse you. Thinking is in the future, meaning, what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? So it stops you from doing anything that might be a little bit scary for you or out of your comfort zone. So I'll give you an example. When I used to coach women way back when in weight loss and disordered eating, I would say to them, and I wasn't quite as eloquent as this guy, but I would say to them, look, just black and white it. So what I was saying to them is when you decide, I'm going to go to the gym, I would say the second you start negotiating in your own head, you're lost, you're not going. So it's basically what he's saying is that take the thought, I'm going to go to the gym, and just go. Don't go down the road with thinking. That's where we get so confused. And I want to read a quote that it's in the book. Jonathan Safran Foer, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he said, I think and think. I've thought myself out of happiness 1,000,000 times, but never once into it. Does that sound like you? Because it's definitely me. When I start thinking, I want to create my own business, I will start to go down a road of, well, what if it's not successful? Or I'm going to quit my job. And then there's, well, what if I don't get another job? What if I end up homeless? Do you see like the what ifs that 99.9% of the time never happen? But when you're programmed that way, which I have been over years and years and years to think this way, it's sabotaging my life. Because I know you've all heard, thoughts create. Thoughts create. So if I'm thinking these negative thoughts or all the reasons why I can't do something, you can see why I haven't done it. And so I'm wondering for you, for anyone that's out there listening to this, does this resonate with you? Because it resonated with me so deeply that all of a sudden I started to think about all the different ruminating thoughts I have throughout the day. And there are thousands of them. So anyway, he does talk about, within the book, things that you can do to change that. Now I'm going to have my midlife sabbatical, and I want to change all these different areas of my life. But change has to start small. If it's too big, I'm going to talk myself out of it, or I'm going to scare myself. So let me tell you the 5 things that I'm going to start with, because right now I'm on the on-ramp to changing my life. So I need to start now, not the day that I decide in January that I'm reshaping my whole entire life. The author he gives you different exercises and things that you can do that will help you internally, but also external things that you can do. So I've decided I'm going to do 5 new things every day. I'm keeping it small. Now remember, I am on the on-ramp to my sabbatical, meaning that last week I talked about 7 pillars of my life that I'm looking to address. This is one of them. I'm keeping it small so I don't scare myself and I don't talk myself out of it. So one of the things that the author mentions is to start your day on a positive note. So probably the worst thing any one of us can do is roll over and grab your phone. And I am 100% guilty of that. I look at the news and I don't know what could be more negative than the news in today's day and age. So I have decided I'm not going to do that anymore. I think it really just sets my mind off on a negative vibration. So no more looking at my phone in the morning. What I'm going to do instead is I found this cute book, and again, I will post it. It's called A Year of Positive Thinking, Daily Inspiration. And this book is by Cindy Spiegel, Daily Inspiration, Wisdom, and Courage. And every day has a different inspiration to it. So I'm just going to read an example of today. How to live a good life. It's perfect. With each decision you make, you determine how you will live your life. Here are a few instructions to help you make wise decisions. Love well. Hold tight to your dreams. Fail, fall, try again. Then maybe one more time. Eventually, you'll get up. Stand tall, stretch and grow, create and play, laugh, fail again and again. Use these instructions as a guide or don't. Make the conscious choice to live well, whatever that means to you. So that was today's daily inspiration. Super positive, great way to start the mind going first thing in the morning. So this is what I'm planning on doing. Takes a couple seconds, and I think it's a great way to start the day. The other thing that I plan on doing is I'm going to, and I just bought this, journal. Journaling is such a great healing process for a lot of people. And sometimes it's easier to, sometimes it's harder to think, to get something from here to here. And sometimes it's easier to get something from your mind and write it out. That's what I found. So I bought myself a journal, and what I'm going to do is every morning set my intentions for the day, positive intentions, and then every night I'm going to write 3 things that I'm grateful for. Big things, little things. In fact, the more things that you can find that you're grateful for, the more joy you'll bring into your life. And it can be the tiniest little thing, like I saw a ladybug. Ladybugs are good luck. So things like that. So that's the other thing I'm going to do. Set my intentions for the day, and then gratitude journal at night. The other thing that the author mentioned is movement is good. You know, so I can't always go to the gym first thing in the morning. But what I can do is I can play my favorite song first thing in the morning and just dance around the kitchen with my boyfriend or by myself. And dancing brings me a lot of joy. It also brings up your energy levels, and it's just a nice way to start the day. So I think I'm going to start doing that. These are things that will just take me so little time, but it just can make a huge impact on the rest of my day. So this is what I'm going to try. But the other thing that I am going to pick up that I used to do in the past is meditation. I realize when I'm reading through this book that meditation is all about sitting quietly. A thought comes in, you recognize the thought, and you release it. In meditation, you're not thinking, you're not going down the road. It's what they always say in meditation. It's the space between the thoughts. There's the thought, there's a space, and then you get to the thinking. But to me, that the space in between the thoughts is where your intuition lives, and it's where that tiny voice inside of you is telling you what to do next. So meditation is going to be something that I pick up for the new year, although I'm going to start now, just a couple minutes a day to ground myself. So that's what I'm planning to do moving forward. If you want to follow my journey into the new year, into my midlife sabbatical, I would love it. If you want to know the 7 pillars that I am addressing in my life to create a much more beautiful, joyful, and expansive life that I am planning on creating for 2026, then you can go check that out. Would love for you to join me next week. Anything that I talked about in the video today, I will post the link at the bottom. I couldn't show it to you because the light was reverberating off of my iPad. But I hope this was super helpful for you, and thanks so much for joining. Hope to see you next week.